Welcome, beloveds. My name is Sheena with the Alchemy of I Love You, and this is our Alchemy of I Love You virtual alchemy temple. How's that for saying alchemy a lot? So let's go ahead and just arrive in this space, just allowing ourselves to release the day thus far. I'm going to go ahead and smudge this space, just purifying the energies here and marking this as a ceremonial space. Taking a moment just to thank the power of technology that brings us together, no matter where we are, when we're receiving this message, just allowing us together to drop into a field. So this alchemy temple is a 24-week journey, and you may commit to the full 24 weeks, or you may choose to ebb and flow in a way that feels best for you. Throughout this temple, there's 3 parts to our journey, just like in the book, The Alchemy of I Love You, a journey through the heart's infinite grace. The first 7 weeks is a walk through healing the heart chakra system. Every week, we will bring emphasis to a different chakra, and we will story tell. We will share crystal allies, herbal support, songs, and different ways that we can gather. And we can somatically embody the wisdom shares of each week's transmission with practical tools that we have here on earth to support us. Will this journey be perfect? Is any journey perfect? I believe this will be an imperfectly perfect journey of learning together, exploring, becoming curious, and getting to hear how much of our personal story is also deeply embedded in the collective story. So throughout this book, I'm sharing a personal memoir of experiences that I've had that have helped to catalyze my spiritual awakening that I'm still on. And I believe that by sharing these stories, we can universalize some of these human qualities that we will all experience. So, my prayer is that each week we can feel nourished, we can feel held, supported, and guided throughout this journey. So I believe that each transmission will be between 60 and 90 minutes. I will invite you each week to bring along something to write with in case any notes, memos, messages, images come across your mind that you want to jot down, that you want to remember, that you want to draw. There is no need for note taking, but this is an invitation simply to arrive, to be here, and to embody this journey as a collective unit. So there's no right or wrong way to go through this journey. If you decide to travel beyond the first 7 weeks of healing the chakra system with us, our second 7 weeks is activating the sacred portals of grace that are within us. These are emanations of rays, colored flames that we will all embody. So once we've been able to heal the chakra system, we can activate these sacred flames, feeling nourished in our system to do so. And then if you decide to journey on for the final 9 weeks, this will be our ascent and our emanation, aligning with the archetypal energies of the planets. So through this journey, I will welcome you into learning how to read your own birth chart, understanding where the different planets are, what houses, and what the archetypal energies are that you are co-creating this earth curriculum with. Understanding our birth chart is not meant to be a psychic forecast of what will happen, although there are a lot of patterns and things that we can reference to see perhaps why some things have happened. Really, what understanding our birth chart allows us to do is to come into right relationship with our environment, as above, so below, as within, so without. So by understanding some of the challenges that we might have and how they've been here for us to learn from, we might be able to tread a little bit lighter, have a little bit more joy, and come back to the peace of understanding that everything is working out for our highest and greatest good, even when we can feel like we're in some crunchy moments, because there is not a human on this planet that is not going to face trauma, tragedy, loss, betrayal, these lower vibrational energies of fear and the illusion of separation that can make us feel isolated, that can make us feel like we're falling into a victim mindset. And when we have more awareness, when we bring consciousness to what has been unconscious, we actually start to live our life in service of the highest and greatest good, beginning with ourselves and being able to honor the path as a path of learning, the things that we can overcome in order to be sovereign individuals and feeling more as though life is happening through us rather than life happening to us. And my prayer is that through this transformational alchemical journey, we will feel more empowered as sovereign beings, exercising our free will and playing with destiny. So I've got a workbook for this journey, and I'm going to go ahead and grab it now because, as I said, we're not doing this perfect, we're doing this imperfect. So I'm going to go grab it from my collection over here. If you've got the workbook, I invite you to bring it out with you now. Okay. So this is our Alchemy workbook. It is available if you have not already purchased your copy on Amazon and also on our website, thealchemyofiloveyou.com. If you are local to the Sarasota area and you would prefer a signed copy, then let me know and I'd be happy to get that directly to you. So we are going to be working with this book throughout our temple. And in the beginning of this journey, I really want to root us into this experience. And so what I'd like to do is, whether you are using the workbook or you are in the Alchemy book, in the Alchemy book, I am referring to page 3. We're going to go ahead and root our journey. This is the prelude to the descent. So I just invite us to arrive here, feeling our feet on the earth, ourselves supported by the chair that holds us. If you want to grab some tea, water, cacao, or something to sip on for this journey, you may like to pause this and go and grab that now. I'm going to take a sip of my water here. I do want to give a disclaimer. that we are working with a lot of herbal allies throughout this journey. And in my own experience with this book, I've had the colorful journey of being pregnant, being not pregnant, being pregnant again. And I am blissfully, euphorically happy to say that I am with child, about over halfway through the pregnancy journey now. So for me, there are going to be a lot of herbal allies that I'm going to be working with through my intention, but not actually digesting. And so if you are pregnant or nursing, if there are dietary restrictions, allergies, or sensitivities, I would advise you to consult with an herbalist or your doctor prior to ingesting any of the herbal allies that we talk about in this book, because not all of them are for every season of our lives. What I have done throughout this book is I have infused each chapter with the herbal ally. So even if you're not able to ingest it, know that it has been ceremoniously worked with throughout the creation of this book. And in each of the love letters for each of the chapters, there is an infusion of that herbal spirit through the words of the page. You'll also see in the background of the page is the herbal spirit. So this is to give everyone that feeling of inclusivity. So even if you're not able to directly ingest it, know that this herb is still supporting your journey. So if you've got something to sip on nearby, it's always nice to bring something to drink into our ceremonial spaces, because we are infusing this energy and we get to bless ourselves by ingesting it. So whether it be an herbal ally like a tea or cacao, or something as simple as water, it's always nice to bring it with us for these spaces. So again, we're going to refer to page number 3. And I'm going to read from the page. Before we begin our descent into the core wounds, we root. We root into our bodies, into the earth, into each other, and into the sacred remembrance that this journey is not one that we take alone. The first chapter is the energetic threshold of this book, a liminal space where we collectively arrive. Here we are invited to lay down what we've been carrying, to release the need to do it right, and to instead enter with our whole, honest selves. Energetically, we begin at the root chakra, Muladhara, the foundation of our being. Located at the base of the spine, this chakra governs our connection to safety, stability, and belonging. It's where our soul first anchors into form, where our ancestral stories live, and where our deepest fears and longings for security reside. To enter the descent without grounding would be to float through shadow work without soil beneath us. This is why we begin here, to create a field of support that can hold whatever it is that arises. The root teaches us that we are not separate from the earth or each other. We are held in the great web of life. This introduction is a ritual in itself. Consider this a place to set your intentions, to take a deep breath, and to pause before the journey begins. So let's go ahead and take a deep breath right here, right now, trusting in the imperfectly perfect journey that we are preparing to go along together. You are invited to create a sacred space in your physical environment. This might look like lighting a candle, sitting on the earth, breathing right into the base of your spine. Let's do that again now, taking perhaps the deepest breath that you've taken all day long. perhaps breathing out through the mouth and setting the intention that we let something go, that we soften something. Doing this a couple times in your own breath and your own rhythm. Just noticing if there's any clenching of the jaw, any furling of the brow, any clenching of the fists, any tightening anywhere in the body. And just slowly, gently releasing any of that tension. We might like to move a little bit, shake anything out of us, anything that we've collected throughout the day, just like we see animals do in nature. After they've experienced something, they shake it off. So let's give ourselves the invitation to just shake it out and shake it off. Perhaps noticing how the shoulders are today. Are they relaxed? Can we roll them back and down, emanating the heart out into the space? Maybe allowing our hand just to rest gently wherever feels in alignment for us. And just feeling your body held in the chair you're sitting in the earth you're standing or sitting upon. And just noticing in this moment what it feels like to be breathed. Knowing that even when we don't have conscious awareness on our breath, we are being breathed. How divine are we that there is a force here keeping us alive in every breath and every moment. And as we perhaps begin to take some deeper breaths, just allowing ourselves to be here now to fully arrive, maybe just allowing for a moment of gratitude to know that we are kept alive by spirit, as one with spirit, being breathed right in this very moment. This book is not a map out of pain. It is a spiral into wholeness that begins in the root. Together, we plant ourselves here and we remember we are safe. We are supported and we are never, ever, ever, ever alone. So let's create a unified field together. Before we jump in, invitation here is to take a sacred pause. We begin by honoring the ground beneath us. The original stewards of this land we acknowledge, both known and unknown. The original stewards whose care and courage have allowed life to flourish here, we say thank you. We honor the ancestors whose bones and stories remain in our soil. Our plant ancestors whose seeds still carry their memory. And the waters that remember every prayer. May our work here be in right relationship with this place, rooted in respect and reciprocity. This is not a journey of learning. It's one of remembering that you are already whole. You are already worthy. And this book is simply a companion. It's not a teacher, but a mirror, awakening what your soul already knows. In the teachings of esoteric mystic Alice Bailey, every act of service begins by creating a unified field. We call this a group soul. And this is the field that we enter now. We do not walk alone. Each word, prayer, and remembrance offered in these pages is held within a living current of divine intelligence. We are joined by countless others across time and space, weaving our individual light into the radiant tapestry of the One. From this path of unity, we remember this is not a path of seeking, but of remembering. Remembering we are already whole, we are already holy, and we are already home. So together, let's go ahead and call in our group soul. Invitation now, if it feels in alignment, to soften the gaze or close down the eyes. If not, you're more than welcome to follow along on pages 5 and 6 of the Alchemy of I Love You book. If it does feel in alignment to receive, I invite you just to allow yourself to be here now, softening the gaze or closing down the eyes completely and beginning to connect with your heart. Bringing some awareness to the emerald ray of the heart. Maybe seeing, feeling, or perceiving as it enters from the back of your heart chakra and begins to emanate out the front. I invite you to feel, sense, or perceive your breath moving in and out of your chest, just like waves gently meeting the shore. And if it feels in alignment, I invite you next to extend your heart with my heart. And then, if it feels in alignment, to the hearts of every soul that will read these words across all time and space. And really beginning to feel your heart as it connects with mine, as it connects with theirs, forming a web now of unconditional love. And on your next breath, we'll go ahead and we'll connect ajna to ajna. Here we bring our awareness to the indigo ray of the third eye, this space between the brows. And here I invite you to feel, sense, or perceive the light of your inner vision beginning to awaken now. And as we activate this inner seeing, may we honor the wisdom of every soul on this path with us, beginning to feel this connection soul to soul as we see one another clearly. If it feels in alignment, maybe feeling the amethyst ray of my ajna as it begins to connect to the amethyst ray of your ajna. If it feels in resonance for you, connecting that indigo ray, that amethyst ray from your ajna right back out into this temple space. And as we've already built our web of unconditional love, just feeling this living, infused wisdom connecting into this field. And on your next exhale, in your own divine rhythm and time, invitation to breathe right into the crown of your head as we connect over soul to over soul. And here I invite you to bring your awareness to the diamond ray of your halo, your crown, your oversoul, this vast field of memory, essence, and guidance. And now you may begin to feel, sense, or perceive the oversoul of this collective. An invitation to begin to feel those threads of light weaving us together beyond the veil. Remembering here that we are each unique, and yet we are also one. So as we've created our unified field of unconditional love from the heart, activating this indigo amethyst ray of the ajna, we now braid in this diamond light of the oversoul. An invitation to allow it to rain down over you, saturating each of the chakras. Feeling this emanation of light coming down from the galactic celestial realms, all the way down through the crown, down through the ajna, connecting again with that living infused wisdom of the amethyst ray, coming down through the throat chakra, lubricating this place of authenticity, coming down over the heart chakra, meeting that field of unconditional love, that emerald ray emanating out into the space. And feel this diamond light as it cascades down through the solar plexus, through the sacral chakra, this space of sensuality, of sexuality, of creativity, and allowing this diamond light to come down through the root chakra, this space of belonging, of safety, and just noticing what you notice here. And then perhaps if it feels in resonance to you, allowing this beautiful light to cascade all the way down the legs, through the soles of your feet, and down into the crystal core center of Mama Gaia, and feeling yourself completely held in this vertical pillar of light. And as we are in this field of unity, you may begin to feel me in this vertical pillar of light with you as one. And from this space, I invite you to connect to your source self, dropping into that still point within and feeling, sensing, or perceiving the timeless flame of your origin, the source that created you. This is your divine self. This is the purest expression of your being. So allow it here for just a moment to speak through you, to you, in silence. And just letting it remember you here, acknowledging you, acknowledging the human self that had to go through every single journey to be here now. And just noticing what you notice as we take a breath together. And on your next exhale, I invite you to connect to your center self, bringing all of this energy right into your center, your womb, your belly, your digestive cauldron, your sacred seat of power. And just begin to feel, sense, or perceive this pulse of life anchoring within you. Here we are not reaching outward, but rooting inward. This is your home, your compass, and your altar. So allow yourself to be here now. And as we've now cultivated this unified field of presence, as within, so without, as above, so below, we call forward our intentions for our time together, which you may like to say silently to yourself or speak aloud. We align with the highest and greatest good. We choose the highest and greatest choice for ourselves, for each other, and for all living beings across all time, all dimensions, and all space. We root this prayer in wholeness and in sovereignty. And so it is, and so it ever shall be. Inhaling deeply. Exhaling fully. With deepest gratitude to my beloved mentor, Jamie Day, who's been an instrumental teacher, helping me learn how to walk between worlds with integrity and grace. Along with Alice Bailey, Richard Rudd, Aurelia Louise Jones, Dolores Cannon, Rebecca Campbell, Magenta Pixie, Reggie Riverbear, Deborah Silverman, and my team of soul allies. Their creations of sacred field work and devotional ritual became the foundations for our temple that we now enter together. Welcome to the alchemy of I Love You. I invite you to allow this book, this transformative journey to be your temple. We begin now together as one. Taking another deep breath in through the nose. And releasing out through the mouth or the nose. As we begin each week, I will be sharing the alchemy invocation that can be found on pages 7 and 8. And this is an invocation that synthesizes each of the chapters into a prayer. So this prayer infuses each of the chakras, each of the rays, and each of the planetary archetypes. So this will give us a place to feel rooted from as we come together in each of our alchemy circles. So you may like to receive this prayer by closing down the eyes or softening the gaze. You may like to recite this prayer aloud with me. Let's go ahead and take a deep breath in and out, and then we will begin. It feels good to have your hands on your body, over the heart, over the womb space, prayer position, Anjali Mudra, or just resting gently on the body. Invitation to just feel yourself here now in a way that feels good. I root into the earth beneath me, guided by the red flame of divine will, anchored in the south with Mars as my strength. I honor the land I stand upon, the mountains and rivers, the stones and soil, the ancestors who walked here, the land spirits whose body became this ground, the plant allies who fed generations with their medicine and beauty. May their memory nourish my steps, and may my presence honor their stewardship. I am safe. I am here. I am power made holy. I rise through my womb and waters, washed in the orange flame of resurrection, held in the west where the moon softens and flows. I am creation. I am surrender. I am the sacred vessel. I awaken the fire of my will, blazing with the golden flame of wisdom, blessed in the north with the sun as my light. I am courage. I am clarity. I am divine choice in motion. I open my heart to the center of all things, bathed in the pink flame of cosmic love, singing from the east where Venus breathes beauty. I am compassion. I am connection. I am love made whole. I speak from the throne of truth, cleansed and renewed by the white flame of purity, carried by Mercury, bridging heaven and earth. I am expression. I am presence. I am sacred sound. I see with the eye of the soul, anointed by the emerald flame of healing, blessed by Neptune's waters of vision and grace. I am insight. I am wisdom. I am the seer and the seen. I crown myself in divine remembrance, illuminated by the violet flame of transmutation, guided by Jupiter and Saturn, Uranus and Pluto. I am unity. I am infinite. I am the soul reborn as light. From earth to sky, from root to star, I align, attune, and allow. I walk as the temple in service to the highest and greatest good, for all beings through all time and all space. And so it is. Taking another deep breath in through the nose. Perhaps allowing it to come down out through the mouth. And again, just checking in. Are our shoulders still relaxed back and down? Or have they inched their way up to our ears? And if so, can we relax them back and down? Are we clenching in the fists, in the jaw, in the brow? Can we just bring some mindful awareness to release any tension that we're holding in the body? So each week we are going to have sacred alchemy, and this is the embodiment rituals that is part of this book. So just to give you a little idea around my intention for this book and where this book really came from, I have been an avid seeker for most of my life, coming in from a young age, feeling as though I had a soul purpose. Not only did I have my own personal mission to fulfill, but I always felt a calling to serve humanity, serve Mother Earth, and be someone that could help to raise the vibration of this planet. I believe that throughout my Earth curriculum, I chose to have a lot of traumatic experiences early on in my life. I've always been a big questioner of why? Why is this happening? How can I move through this? And how can this be medicine for myself and for somebody else? And so when I heard the calling to actually start writing, I didn't know exactly what this book would become, but I knew I was ready to share my story. And I was ready to see how my story also collectively mirrors the universal story of our Earth School curriculum. And this book was an alchemical journey for me from start to finish, to see how differently I viewed my story in the beginning versus the end. When I began writing this book, I thought that I had alchemized all of my suffering into grace until I read the first draft. And I laugh that I could have called this book Trigger Warning, because there was a lot of dense human curriculum embedded within these pages. And I realized that this wasn't the highest expression of my story. And so writing the book, sharing the book, having other people read the book was actually a huge part of my own alchemical healing journey. And so the book that we are reading now is still a collection of my stories, but it's also been transmuted with a lot of love and acceptance, forgiveness for myself and for others that have allowed me to soften through this awakening journey and share my book as a gift to humanity. Again, my intention is that we will never feel alone, and we will know that what we are experiencing is not an isolated event. I grew up as a neurodivergent, highly sensitive person. And for me, this meant that a lot of the world was very loud, very chaotic, and very oftentimes disturbing. And so I had to come into a deep place of acceptance around why this was my Earth School. And I look back and I think about what a blessing it was that I was able to learn so much at a young age through my trials and tribulations. And I think a lot of us do have dysfunctional family units and big experiences that we go through when we're young, when we have signed up to serve humanity. Because I know for me, what it has done is it has allowed me to have more empathy and compassion for everyone and where they're at. There is no judgment. There is no criticism. There is no conditional transactional love that I want to emit. Instead, I want to live in the path of acceptance, forgiveness, and understanding that if it's coming up in my field, there's a reason for it, and there's something for me to learn from. So this book, as much as I've learned from it, will be a continual unfolding. And each week I plan to share some of my own personal reflection around the time that I was in when I wrote these stories, a little bit more background that we won't just get in the book, to share, my personal lens through these stories, kind of where I was, what was happening, and maybe a little bit more behind the scenes storytelling, if you will. So for each chapter, there is a sacred alchemy page, and this includes crystal wisdom, sound healing, herbal allies, embodiment rituals, and a mantra from the major arcana. Again, weaving in the collective story, the universal truths with my own personal story. So for this particular chapter, as this is our descent into the root chakra, the beginning of our journey, setting the foundation and laying out the introduction, for this particular chapter, I do not share a personal story, but instead what I've wanted to do is simply convey that place of understanding that this is a personal experience for me. It's tender, it's vulnerable, and I will continue to grow and evolve through this journey. So I just want to start with saying thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time to drop in. As with anything that I write or I share, take what resonates and leave behind the rest. You may find a lot of resonance in these stories, and you may not, and either one would be perfectly acceptable and okay. Throughout these transmissions, I will give you invitations, and you may choose to do the invitations or you may choose to skip them. There is no test at the end of this. There is no checking in where I make sure that you've done X, Y, and Z. This is your journey, and I'm just excited that you're along the ride for it. So every week I'm going to share recorded transmission, offering these embodiment practices and a little bit more of these supportive alchemy tools for you to do whatever you like with. And then we'll also meet once a week, and we'll have an in-person, or I should say virtual live sharing circle. And during this sharing circle, this will be an opportunity for us to discuss, to share our own personal experience and how it's resonated with the week's chapter, and for us to feel witnessed, supported, and held throughout the journey. So while these transmissions will be a sense of me talking into the void and hoping that you reach the message, receive the message, our sharing circles will be more of an incubator for us to process together, everyone sharing from their unique lens. So our first crystal ally here for the journey is Black Obsidian. And in each of our chapters, we're going to have Black Obsidian on the page of the book. And so you do not need to go out and get all of these crystals, although you certainly can. I've got actually a couple different Black Obsidians here. So we've got this sacred tool here. We've got a more rounded version, pocket stone. And I even brought some different versions of obsidian. This is a strawberry obsidian. Actually, these are both strawberry obsidians. And I've also got a blue obsidian here. Let's get this really beautiful opaque look. So you can see, just like with a lot of these stones, that there's a lot of different versions of these crystal allies. And you might have one that you resonate more with, and I welcome you to work with it in whatever way feels good. This black obsidian is a volcanic mirror of truth, anchoring us to the earth as we begin our healing journey. Aligned with the root chakra, it offers us protection, deep grounding, and the courage to face what lies beneath the surface with honesty and strength. So although we call this a crystal, you'll see this in a lot of crystal shops, it's technically volcanic glass that's been cooled, but it has a lot of purifying qualities to it. This is something that can protect our field, as a lot of black stones does. It purifies the space, prevents any psychic intervention, and it's a great grounding stone to use as a tool to keep with us. So that is why I wanted to begin our journey as we are rooting into the here and now with a stone that helps us to feel grounded, safe, supported. This might be something that you choose to work with by gazing at the image on the page, perhaps carrying a piece of it in your pocket, perhaps speaking to it or listening to it and offering yourself some time for journaling and noticing what happens as you intentionally connect with the black obsidian. So there are so many ways that you can work with crystals, and they are just as simple as holding it, gazing at it. And as I said, each chapter is going to have an image of the stone. So by gazing at the image of the stone on the page, you will get the same support as if you were carrying it with you, because that's how powerful intention and attention is when we place it in our right use of energy, by simply allowing and inviting the crystal to speak through us, to speak to us. So as I mentioned, for each chapter, we will also have a herbal ally. And our herbal ally for our introduction chapter with the root is burdock root. Burdock root is a grounding herbal ally that purifies us from the inside out, supporting the body's natural detoxification while anchoring us in vitality. You can use this as a tea, as a tincture, or as a nourishing food. It strengthens our connection to the earth, promotes resilience, nourishment, and rooted well-being. So this particular herbal ally supports the root chakra, helps with grounding, purification, and ancestral strength. We can use it for supporting our detoxification, strengthening our immune system, and helping to clear out any stagnant energy, just like we can do with our crystal ally. This is a powerful ally for grounding into your body and releasing whatever it is that is no longer serving. So you may like to find yourself some burdock root to begin working with this week. You may like to use it as, it says, a tea, a tincture, or as a nourishing food. So for each of our chapters, we will have an embodiment ritual. I'm going to go ahead and see what page that is in our workbook this week. So I forgot I did not. Oh, whoopsie daisies. I told you we would be perfectly imperfect here. So in the beginning of the workbook, we have an embodiment ritual. And the embodiment ritual that we have for part one is called EFT tapping. And this is emotional freedom technique. And this is a body-based healing practice that blends Chinese meridian theory with gentle tapping. And it works by calming our nervous system, rewiring subconscious patterns, releasing any emotional charge, and anchoring new beliefs into our body. So what we're going to do is we're going to tap each point in our body and we're going to offer ourselves a mantra. So I've got an invitation for the mantra. So the mantra is I am grounded, I am safe, and I belong. So you may like to follow along with the places that I tap. You may like to choose other places that your body is feeling intuitively connected with. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to tap each place. And let's begin. I am grounded. I am safe. I belong. I am grounded. I am safe. I belong. I am grounded. I am safe. I belong. We're going to come under the eyes. I am grounded. I am safe. I belong. I am grounded. I am safe. I belong. I am grounded. I am safe. I belong. Under the nose. I am grounded. I am safe. I belong. 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 Under the chin. I am grounded. I am safe. I belong. I am grounded. I am safe. I belong. On the collarbone. I am grounded. I am safe. I belong. I am grounded. I am safe. I belong. The rib cage. I am grounded. I am safe. I belong. I am grounded. I am safe. I belong. Top of the head. I am grounded. I am safe. I belong. I am grounded. I am safe. I belong. I am grounded. I am safe. I belong. One more time. I am grounded. I am safe. I belong. And just breathing that in, maybe placing your hands in acknowledgement pose, just giving yourself a little cosmic hug, pressing these words right into yourself. If it feels in alignment, I invite you to find a comfortable seat with your spine tall and your feet flat on the ground. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take some deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And as we inhale, invitation to feel the breath descending into the hips and the legs, all the way through the root chakra. On the exhale, we're going to softly intone the sound Lam. We're going to do this for 7 cycles. So here we go. Just breathing in. La. 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 Last one. La. Just taking a moment to notice what you notice. Allowing a deep breath in through the nose. Perhaps out through the mouth. I'm going to go ahead and grab my tarot deck here. I meant to have everything prepared ahead of time, but then I became perfectly imperfect. And there are things that I forgot. So I'm going to go ahead and invite us to take a couple deep breaths. If you do have burdock root or something to sip on, I invite you to go ahead and take a sip of that now. Just allowing what we've done so far to be somatically ingested, digested, consumed by the body. So this card here is the Tower card. And for us to begin with the Tower card can bring up some feelings. This, of course, is only one image of the Tower card, and this comes to us from the Rider-Waite deck, which is pretty universally known. But there are so many different tarot decks out there. And if you do choose to work with the tarot by purchasing a copy or a deck for our alchemy circles, I invite you to choose the one that resonates with you. There's no right or wrong way to choose a tarot deck. There is a belief that I've often heard that we cannot purchase our own tarot decks. And I would like to nullify that belief and say that if that superstition is true for you, then I honor that. But also, you can certainly buy your own tarot deck. It's not going to be bad luck. Whenever you do purchase a tarot deck or anytime you are working with a tarot deck, it is good to sage them, to clean them, to clear them. And so this particular image shows a destructive force where we see the tower, people are jumping out, there's a storm going on. We see a fire at the top and people jumping out the windows. So this is a pretty chaotic scene. And it does also mirror something that we will all experience within the human journey, which is the tower falling moment. And so I chose to begin this story with the tower falling moment because this is the time that we are deconstructing the belief systems that we've held on to for a long time. We might be coming to this book because we've had some kind of transformational experience. We might have had a loss, a breakup, loss of career, loss of home, loss of identity. There are so many reasons that we might feel grief and loss as we are becoming within our journey. And the tower encompasses all of that. There is a tower falling moment that we will all experience where there's a before and there's an after. And I share throughout this book the different stories of tower falling moments that I had. One of the most prevalent, although there's been a lot, but one of the most prevalent of the tower falling moments that I experienced was back in 2015 when I lost my career and I lost my father within the same couple of weeks. I had gone up to the top of the tower, to the top of the ladder. I felt really successful, really important, really invested in my career. And I believed that I had found a home. I had believed I had found an identity. And although there were times that I questioned what I was doing because it did feel like there was a lot of me checking off a lot of boxes into what society said that I should be, there was certainly an attachment to an identity that I had created within that social structure, that financial structure, that relational structure to this version of me with my career. And unbeknownst to me, there were some things that were going on behind the scenes in which the entire company folded, and it folded rather quickly. And so it was without announcement that I lost my job. And when I called my father to let him know that I had lost my job, wouldn't you know, he too was experiencing the same thing. And as I share more in the book, our paths took two different timelines. I chose to rebuild myself, starting over from ground zero. And my dad chose to take his life at that time. His identity was so formed within what he did that he didn't know who he was without that identity, without that career. So while I had only spent 4 or 5 years with this career, for him, it had been 33 years. And so there was a dismantling of everything that I thought I knew, everything that kept me safe and gave me a sense of belonging had come underneath my feet in a very short amount of time. So this was my tower falling moment, one of many that actually led me to begin to start living from the inside out. So each week, as I share a story, we also share a little bit about the major arcana. There are 22 universal truths throughout this book. There are 22 major arcanas in the tarot deck. And so it says here that the tower arrives when false foundations can no longer hold. It is the sacred storm that clears illusions and awakens us to what is unshakably true. Though it may feel like chaos, it is divine intervention, burning away what was built on fear so that the soul can rebuild in alignment. This destruction is not punishment, it's actually revelation. So our mantra that we might like to feel a resonance with this week, we may like to repeat to ourselves, we might like to put it somewhere like on the mirror as we're brushing our teeth in the morning or at night. We may like to play with this in some kind of way. We may like to rewrite this. But the mantra says, I trust the breaking. I allow what is false to gently fall away. I rise rooted in truth. So let's just go ahead and breathe that in. I trust the breaking. I allow what is false to gently fall away. I rise rooted in truth. Let's say that again. I trust the breaking. I allow what is false to gently fall away. I rise rooted in truth. I trust the breaking. I allow what is false to gently fall away. I rise rooted in truth. Again, I trust the breaking. I allow what is false to gently fall away. I rise rooted in truth. I trust the breaking. I allow what is false to gently fall away. I rise rooted in truth. I trust the breaking. I allow what is false to gently fall away. I rise rooted in truth. Let's do it one more time. I trust the breaking. I allow what is false to gently fall away. I rise rooted in truth. Taking a deep breath in. Humanity is going through a major uprising right now. And there's a lot of systems that are dismantling, a lot of belief systems that are coming down, things that we've held on to for quite some time that are unfolding right before our eyes. And it can cause moments of feeling fear. It can cause moments of feeling doubt and confusion. And throughout this chapter, throughout this week, and throughout this journey, I invite us to trust that anything that is falling away now is being dismantled because it doesn't support the highest and greatest good. That it was not created with integrity for all beings. And if we can trust that what is rising from the ashes and what is being rooted now in a solid foundation is rooted to be in resonance to our higher truth, to our most authentic expression, to be in service of the whole, then perhaps we can have more ease and more peace around the things that are dismantling. So I invite us to be gentle with ourselves throughout this journey. If we've arrived here because we've had a tower falling moment, know that you are not alone. If you are feeling, sensing, or perceiving the towers falling in the collective, again, you are not alone. There are a dismantling of many systems happening right now, but we can choose on how we respond with the unfolding. We can choose peace. We can choose connection. We can choose to trust that, again, anything dismantling was not here in the highest and greatest good, was not sustainable. And what will be replaced, what is being replaced, what we are replacing it with is far more sustainable, is far more rooted in respect and reciprocity with each other and with our beloved Mother Earth. So I invite us to be gentle, to continue to reach out to one another. To be on this journey is to know, as I will say every single week, that you are not alone. I invite you to stay connected through our virtual temple. This is a space where we can process, we can share, we can add posts, we can add resources and tools that are supporting us that we would like to share with others. We can be witnessed. I will state that this is not a place for rescuing, for trying to solve and fix other people's problems. While we can be witnesses, we will hold the space without having to put on our teacher hat or our therapist hat or our problem solver hat, because we trust in one another's ability to overcome any challenge that you have co-created in this universe. Whatever is happening to you, may you recognize that it's happening for you, for the highest and greatest good. And you can absolutely come here to feel connected, to feel supported, and to know that you're not alone. But there won't be a therapist on site that will come and that will have one-on-one sessions with you every single week, aside from these sharing circles. Instead, you will be offered the opportunity to move through it with sovereignty, respecting each other's ability to overcome any challenge that they are faced with. So if it feels in alignment to pick up a crystal, to feel supported by this tool, then I invite you to do that. If it feels in alignment to pick up the herbal ally, to feel supported by the land spirits, and I invite you to do that. If it feels supported to journal after each of these calls, then I invite you to do that. In our alchemy workbook, there are pages for journaling. So every single week, you have the opportunity to write down what it is that you're moving through. There's lined pages, and then there's also blank pages, because you might want to doodle, draw some images that are coming up. You might have some things that percolate throughout the week that come through the imagination or through the dream state. And know that everything is here for your highest and greatest good. So use this journal as it feels good for you. Allow it to be a place to hold your feelings so that you don't have to keep them repressed inside. Every week we will be offering a song. And the song this week is called Rooted by Aisha Badru. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place that song in our virtual temple so that we can listen to it. You might like to dance to this song. You might like just to sit and hear the words of this song and let it be a transmission for you. You might like to get out your journal and start writing with the song or after the song completes. In any way that you decide to move through these chapters, know that there is absolutely no wrong way to do this. This week has been an introduction into the space, a place for us to set the foundation, to root into this space with one another, to know that you are connected, supported, and guided throughout this process. And I invite you to continue the journey with us if it feels in alignment. If you know someone that may like to journey with us, please reach out, connect with them, invite them into our temple, knowing that with these transmissions being recorded, there is no wrong time to listen to these. May they all catch everyone in their own divine time. I've chosen to record these transmissions because I am halfway through a pregnancy. And by the end of part 1 of our journey, I will be giving birth. And so it is to come. We're going to find out what feels most in alignment for our dates and our times for our sharing circle as we move through this journey. But each week we will have the recorded transmission, and there will be a time for integrating, sharing, processing in a live virtual circle. And so I am so grateful to have you along for this journey. Thank you for being here now. Thank you for choosing to be along this journey. If you haven't already picked up your copy of The Alchemy of I Love You, this is the book that we are journeying through. So just like with the companion workbook, you can pick these up on Amazon or on our website, thealchemyofiloveyou.com. But these will be important resources and tools just to have with you along this journey. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for the courage to show up. I'm sending you so much love. I am just so excited to be going through this journey with you. I want to say that while some of these topics can feel heavy, like tower falling moments, the light is at the end of the tunnel, and each week does invite us just to celebrate with one another and just remind one another that there is so much light, there is so much joy, and there is so much peace among us when we choose that for ourselves. And so, especially for part 3 of the journey, when we enter the stage of emanation, this will be such a beautiful process for us to step into the role of facilitator if we choose to start co-creating our own circles and our communities, creating in-person spaces, virtual spaces, and know that once we complete this journey together, it is my absolute honor and pleasure and joy to welcome you to create your own alchemy circle using the practices, the rituals, and the stories in this book and everything that we have undergone together. This, for me, was a book that was channeled through my spirit, but also connecting with my higher self. And so I don't want to take ownership of this in a way that prevents other people from sharing it. I'd actually love to do the opposite and encourage you to start a community, a circle, a space where you can gather, especially if you're able to do that in person. There can be something really rejuvenating and nourishing about sharing sacred space in the same field as others in person. I was lucky enough to be able to do that last year in Sarasota at Joy Connections, where we went through every bit of this book. And so now, because of already going through that, infusing these pages with our love, with these herbal tools, with these embodiment rituals, with this crystal wisdom, now I'm coming on to share it in the virtual space. But I'm sure there will probably be more opportunities for in-person gatherings down the road. But again, once we complete this journey, I absolutely welcome you to begin your own alchemy circles and using this virtual temple that we have within the Mighty Networks to invite people to come, to share, to process, to play, and to pray together. Let's go ahead and just close out with a deep breath together. Feeling ourselves again rooted in this root chakra that we've brought emphasis today. Everything that we have been doing today has been supporting this place of belonging, this place of safety, and this place of building a foundation of trust that we can evolve and grow through. So thank you for your time, for your presence, for your energy. I'm sending you so much love, and I'll see you next time. Namaste.